Hello and welcome to the Knowledge Mind. Today we have a very important perspective that we're discussing, that of a parent and how to nurture the talent in a child. And every child has talent. And I'm actually delighted and I'm very grateful to Col Mohan Sharma, who has agreed to come on board and to share the wealth of knowledge that he has and the wealth of knowledge that he has generated in his journey of enabling India produce one of the finest golfers we have seen in a long time. Colonel Sharma, once again, thank you very much. How this talk will flow is that I am going to ask a few questions. I've got a long list of questions for Colonel Sharma. And the idea of this conversation is to mine knowledge, which is for the benefit of everyone who's listening and many others who are going to be listening to the recordings down the line. Let me start by giving you a quick introduction to Colonel Sharma. Colonel Sharma was in the Indian Army. He was from the Corps of Engineers and he commanded the 1st Armored Engineer Regiment, which you all know is quite an honor. He was then posted as Group Commander in the elite National Security Guards. This successful Army officer then took premature retirement at a ripe young age of 45 to pursue Shubhankar's and to an equal extent his own dreams in the golfing world. We are delighted that he's here to share information with us. And let me first start by asking him, Colonel Sharma, tell me about Shubhankar's early years. When did you first notice the spark in him?
Yeah. So firstly, Mr. Degi, it's absolutely honored to come and talk to you at this platform. And it has always been a thought behind my mind that whatever you're learning from each other, there should be a day that when I will be and I should be able to contribute back whatever I've learned and talk to people. Spoke to a lot of parents, a lot of children individually. As you said, after leaving at 45, you call it right young age or right old age, whatever you may call it. So I've been enjoying myself. It's been a phenomenal journey. So there's a lot actually which I learned over the period of time. And it will be really a pleasure and honor if I can share anything of this or any whatever of this with a lot of parents, a lot of people. Because I see a lot of potential in golf in India. I see a lot of things happening in India. Now coming to your question. Earlier, Shubhankar, I think you've spoken to him. It's a much flocked question. I just want to say one thing that every child comes with a destiny. Every child comes with his own destiny. There are no lines which you can draw in anyone's hand. I strongly believe in this aspect in our mythology. The child has his own karma. He comes with it. And Shubhankar had a karma. He came with that, and destiny led him there. So, question proper. Well, he started very early. We were in Wellington, and we were lucky to have a post there, and we were lucky to meet some really good people who inspire us, namely Anirban's father, and it was a chance meeting with him. I think I've heard enough of it, and and I think that changed everything. And from there on, journey took off. I don't know how it has shaped this way, but it has shaped somewhere.
Okay. So tell me, when you notice that he's showing some talent, what are the things that you did to encourage that talent evolve?
No, to start with, as I said, golf is something which was started by just pure accident. It was just a pure accident, nothing more than that. In fact, as a matter of fact, it was my wife who told me first time that Shubhankar can play a game called golf. And I knew there's a game called golf, but then I said that how you are saying this, because her interest in sport, whether my interest was a lot different, because I was a sportsman throughout and playing a lot of things at various levels. And she, in her own right, was a sport follower, played something in college, but not really in classical sense, a sports-oriented person. But she's the person who said that this is something. I said, how do you know? He says, when Larry sort of finds it, when he keeps talking to me about this game, I said, no harm. So the moment we got hold of a set, we went to golf course together, And I saw him hitting balls. I was playing a lot of racket games and a lot of cricket, and like all of us. And I noticed a bit of hand-eye coordination. I noticed he was always very active child, running around, and is always full of energy. I noticed that that immediate connection which he had with the club, and he could connect the ball so well. So I thought maybe there's something. That is just a start, but very good.
Tell me, so you were not a golfer and you encourage him to start golf thanks to Colonel Lahiri, is what I understand.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Larry is the man who brought a word called golf in our life. So we have repeated it enough number of times and enough lessons. Without him, probably wouldn't have. So
Okay.
I said, without Colonel Larry, golf wouldn't have been there in our life. So I think he's the man who brought this four-letter word in our life, and our lives took a shape. Yeah,
How wonderful.
yeah,
Okay, and tell me, so at what stage, when you realized that he's showing some potential, did you start looking out for a coach? And then how
yeah,
did you go about shortlisting one?
yeah. So we started early, and once he started, then he literally slept with the club. As you must be knowing, but I must tell you once again that the first club, I had no idea which club we should play with. What I did was I bought my set first, and which I bought as a add-on with a car, second-hand car, which I bought from a friend of mine. That set was lying in his car, and the moment he gave me key, and he just opened the dicky and he wanted to take out the set. I said, "What are you doing? You sold a car to me." He says, "But the set is mine." I said, "No, you sold car to me, and you've given me key. Now whatever inside is mine." Exactly, that's how it started. And he says, he's a year junior to me, we're doing staff course. He said, "But no, sir, sort of, set is expensive." And I said, "Yeah, whatever is there, expensive or cheap is not an issue." I know by then Nina told me enough number of times golf, and I saw a set lying inside. And he said, "Kala sir, theek aap le lo, and there's no problem, and whatever it is." I said, "No, whatever you say now, it is done. This is mine." So that is how it started. That is how it started. So I
How
had no
interesting.
idea. I had no idea that set was it's like it was between a man and woman. It was a graphite shaft set. It was an imported set with the small heads, and and I had no. And as the luck would have it, it suited my swing. I was a beginner. I could swing it really fast. It was light set, and I could really drive a mile. And I was playing, and my coordination also was nice. So, and once I started hitting balls, and he started taking one club and was shorter. So I reached out to the club pro. I said, "Can you give a club? Tell us, I'll make it, but I'll take 2 bottles for it." In Wellington, there's some very unique tradition. Everything local people there, they look for a rum bottle. They think you're a Fauji, you can give a rum bottle. And you tell them, "Where my quota is 6 bottles or 8 bottles, 10 bottles a month, I can't give you." So what was the result is, "Kada sir, aap 2 bottles de do, aapko bana dunga." And I don't drink. You can call me a teetotaler, very, very occasional. So he says, "Fine." And I said, "Here are your 2 bottles, and give me and give me a club." And he cut a 2 iron and gave it to me. Kehta, "Lo sahab, khelo." I said, "Acha club hai." Kehta, "Sir, bahut lamba jata hai." I said, "La yaar." That is how it started. That is how the knowledge. He says, "Sab ye bahut lamba jayega." So मैं कह लंबा ही चाहिए बस लंबा मारे मजा
Okay.
yeah, that is how it started. So, and slowly, as we moved on and we kept learning every day, slowly I realized that, there's something with him. Then he started playing with me. And we started playing together. And with every passing day, there was a learning. And every passing day, then I got into more of reading and more of understanding and more of talking. And whatever more. And, and as I said, the day passed, but every day was useful. It so happened that every day there was a talk about golf, there was a thinking on golf, and golf digest started coming in. And we started watching more programs. We started talking more of golf. We started watching more tournaments. We started watching more of the golf pages on the newspaper. We started knowing few more names. We only knew G. Milkhasen and Jyoti and Arjun. These are the few names we knew, but we had no idea what they're doing and what they've done. And then Anirban was a junior. Apart from these 3-4 names, and another name we knew was Tiger Woods. Rest, that was our knowledge, and that is the end of it. And that is how that is how it started. So yeah, come.
So at what age did you start looking out for a coach for him, and how did you shortlist one?
So what I'm trying to say, my point I'm trying to make is that for any parent or any child, uh, a journey can start from anywhere. It
Right.
is not mandatory that you do A thing or you do a B thing or do a C thing. What is important is your intention. How 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 strongly you feel about a whole thing. That is what matters. How strongly you want to reach a goal. That is what matters. And if you have a strong enough will, you will find the ways. What I'm trying to say is that if you know the journey, if you know the destination, journey will reveal itself. So in our case, what happened was that when I saw Shubhankar so much into this, and I saw the twinkle in his eye and the love for the game, and he would love the ball flying, and he would wait for me to come from the college, and he would be ready to go with me, and on one run, he will just just climb into my car and run. He will not waste a minute. So that gave me so much of happiness. That gave me so much of motivation. I said, look, this boy is so happy doing this. And this happiness of his translated into my enthusiasm to help him out. And of course, it was all Nina wanted to start. Mother was on board always. So there was no at any point in time there was no you know difference in ideas in moving. So that is how we moved on. I
Excellent.
think you got blocked. I think your views blocked.
So interesting. So, and then tell me one thing, at the enthusiasm which he was showing kind of motivated you,
Hanji.
and that's got you going on the journey for next step. So what are the things that you did to keep him motivated?
No, it is the other way around, Diggy. It is nothing known as motivate. I have to do something to motivate him, because it was not like that. As I said, this guy was on the ball. He was so much on the ball that he kept driving. This is something you have to understand. There's a sport which is parent driven. There's a sport which parent want to drive you. Now this is what I want to tell every parent and every child who's listening here. There are two ways of doing things. जो बच्चे यहाँ सुन रहे हैं, तो ये आपको ये समझनी है बात कि ये मोटिवेशन, ये ड्राइव आपके अंदर से आने हैं. आपको गेम से प्यार करना है, फिर गेम आपकी रिस्पेक्ट करेगी. आपको गेम को रिस्पेक्ट दिखानी है, फिर गेम आपको आगे लेके. Similarly for the parents have to understand that this is one aspect, is to take an example of XYZ and start pushing your child. No, this has a role, definitely. I'm not using word pushing lightly. I'm saying some people just make it their ambition and then extrapolate on a child ambition without seeing or without showing him the way. So it's a very subtle kind of a thing. So in my case, Shubhankar was the driver and I was being driven. That is one thing. But on my side, on my part, what I did was that when I saw the drive, I was smart enough to channelize that. I could see that. I knew that there's a drive and there's a tremendous force, and now all I have to do is channelize. All I have to do is clearance of path. All I have to do is to take him through the correct route so that he reaches his destination. That's all I did. So per se, I never had this problem of motivation.
Excellent. That says a lot, actually, and there's a good lesson in what you just said right now. But my previous question was then, in terms of spotting and skill development, identifying a coach, how did you go about all that?
Okay. So initially, to be honest, with you, first 3-4 years, so I did not have any idea that coach also is required in a manner in which is required today, or in the manner as I understand today. I thought coach has a limited role. I thought coach has a role, but not the role what I see today. In fact, if you see coach has a role with a player on everyday basis, it is not 1 day, 2 day, 1 month, 1 year. Can you hear me well? Can you hear me?
Could be a little louder, but this is fine.
I'm audible.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that coach's role does not finish with 1 day, 2 days, 4 days. It is a lifelong relationship. This has to be very, very clear.
Right.
It is like, if you see, Sachin would go to Mr. Ashrekar till the time he probably died. He would go back to him even after having scored 70 international centuries. Because coach is someone who has seen you as a child, you are his baby. So, coach will be always be required. But then, as you come to your question, first 3-4 years, I had no idea that there is coach required. I thought I'm good enough. I thought I'm learning, and I'm telling him, and every day I will tell him something here, and ऐसे कर रहा, तुम वैसे कर रहा, तुम आगे ले जा, पीछे ले जा. So that things, whatever I could understand, and what I could hear from a playing thing, I would tell him. But having said that, it was not. I did not ignore it. I did not underplay the whole thing. But that is best I could do. From Wellington, I moved to Kargil, and my family stayed back in Jhansi, which was SF area. There was no playing conditions. There's a course, army course in Jhansi, but there's just for course, nothing else, nothing, no course, no nothing. So those 2 years, I would come on leave or wherever, my wife will just take him holding hand and go to course, and they will just hit few balls and just come something and do play 9 holes or whatever. Courses are empty. There are not many people playing, in army courses all the time with their partner. So that was the issue. When I came back, and from there, when I moved to my next coaching station, which was Bhopal, then there we found a guy who was a club pro, a guy called Patel, and he's still playing. Patel is a professional, still playing. Patel also happens to be an ex-Fauji. He's an ex-signal man. So he's a golfer. He played for services, and then he left early, and then he thought that golf was life. So he made Bhopal Golf Course as his home. And so Patel actually was Shubhankar's first coach. And once Patel came on board, then I understood, coaching has a role. So in actual terms, Patel is the guy who put him through paces as a junior from the childhood. Whatever he could say, and when I look back, he did a lot of hard work. Shubhankar was studying in a school called Bal Bhavan there. And he would go to school in the morning and come back at 2:30, have a quick lunch, at 3 o'clock he'll be standing in the golf course. And from 3 to 6:30 he'll be in the golf course. And golf course was right in front of our house. You just get out of the house and there's a golf course. So he would spend those 3 hours, I don't know doing what. I would come from office at 2:33 and he'll be there and we'll go quickly play 9 and this and that. And he will take half an hour class with coach. That too maybe once in 3 days or once in a week or once in 10 days. And that is how it started. And once he started with that, and once he started moving, then I started learning. No, doesn't mean it. And then from there it started.
Wonderful. So Patel laid the foundation of what is perhaps one of the top. Very nice.
Patel.
Then at some stage you moved on to Chandigarh and coach Jesse Grewal. And yes. How did that shift happen?
I must tell you a small thing. Once, in 2007, I moved from there I got posted to Patiala. And once we moved from there, while leaving, I just tell you something very, personal and important. So we went to see Patel, and we said we're leaving. And just at that point of leaving, I don't know what came over Shubhankar. He just went down and touched Patel's feet.
Wow.
And told him, thank you, sir. No. And he blessed him. And I still remember that emotion.
How beautiful.
I still remember the emotion on his face. I still remember. He was so overwhelmed. And Shubhankar was so sincere and honest in his that he moved on. What I'm trying to say, what point I'm trying to make is that sport is just not going and swinging the clubs. It is just not going and hitting the right balls or 100 balls or 50 balls or 200 balls. It's a commitment. It's a commitment from inside. It's a path which you see. It's a route which you see as a family. Now I will come back to the role of the parents here. It is not about the child itself. Now how the interplay between child and parent should take place, in my view. Not that I've done ideal or we have done ideal or me and my wife. But we try to be as realistic and as simple as possible. We also would have made few mistakes, there's no doubt, all of us make. But I think we did a fairly job in the same direction, a good job, so that this guy could be shown direction and his energies could be channelized.
Colonel Sharma, would you have a different mic like the one that I'm wearing? Because the voice keeps on going up and down.
Let me have that. Let me ask for this. Give me 1 second.
Sure. All right. Participants, in the meanwhile, you could post your questions on the chat box and we'll weave them in as we go forward. But some of these questions which are coming in, I already have them and I'll be asking them. And we're just hoping that we get the sound back on in the right way. Can you hear me clearly? Can you just quickly put a yes in case you can hear me fine? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for the feedback. We'll just hoping that he comes back. Yes, Dr. Shah, what specifics would you like to know? Just type them in, please.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to get a second phone. Is getting for me. In the meantime, probably. Let's see. Is it making any difference now?
It's slightly better. Yes.
It's slightly better.
Yeah.
So
is the microphone close to you?
Yeah, I picked up the whole thing and let's see how it works from here.
It's definitely better now. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let me speak slightly louder also. Let me see how it works. Oh, बताइए.
Okay. So coming down to moving to Chandigarh, or basically identifying the next level, which was when you went to Mr. Jesse Grewal. How did that shift happen?
We moved down in 2007. Shubhankar, can you give me some other phone or mobile? This is not really, sound is not going very well. And this can be closed. This window can be closed here. Hanji, sorry, I'm trying to resolve this. I never. Anyway, can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yes, please go ahead.
So yeah, 2007 when I moved to Patiala, and from there Jassi was closer, and we started coming to Jassi, and from then on, Jassi has been focus of our training, and a point about coaching part also. I would like to emphasize with a lot of parents. There are a lot of fancy stuff which is going on about how the coaches should be, and Indian coaches, foreign coaches, ex-coaches, Y coaches. We keep talking about and I also, as I moved on, we also kept hearing a lot of talk about coaches. That now that Shubhankar has gone to next level, and we should go for a coach, and we should have a foreign coach, and we should have this coach and that coach. So that this lot of chat happens, lot of chatter happens. So this is where I guess the role, that is where your maturity has to come in. Just some time back, I mentioned to you the relationship between a parent and the child. How the thing should happen. Yeah, I'm clear now. Better. Sound is better.
Would you want to just try it? Somebody suggesting just take your headphones off and maybe just speak into the microphone directly. Maybe it might get a little clearer.
As if I speak microphone directly.
Let's just try it for a minute.
This way? No, it will not come. Give me other phone, other headphones. I know this was quite nice actually. If maybe charging could be a problem. 8 minutes.
Somebody mentioned that it's better now.
Where are your phones? Where are headphones? Yeah, give a minute.
Sure.
Should not be. So, let me. Other phone is coming meanwhile. Can you hear me slightly better?
We can hear you better right now. Yes, please.
Better right now.
Yeah.
So let me see. So this is something which I want to say today to the parents, people who are listening. The relationship, there are today, if you see, there are thousands of players who are playing at professional level all over the world. This we have to see. And there are lakhs of people who are amateur golfers. All right. And within all these golfers and all these players who are playing, there are thousands of coaches. Isn't it? Have you ever heard that same coach is teaching more than 1, 2, or 3 players? It doesn't work up. Every player has his own coach. So it goes on to say that it is not about the coach only. It's not a coach that who's going to make a player or break a player. It is about the kind of relationship which you develop, the kind of faith which you develop in a coach. You can't keep running from A to B to C to D just because you're feeling that there is going to be some magic wand and your child or you are going to become suddenly from A to B. No. A coach is someone who's part of your team, who's very, very integral part of your team. No, so you have to remember 2 things. Coach also is living it is his living. So you have to respect him. You have to pay him what he deserves, and you have to show the faith and confidence in him. Every individual on this earth, he wants and he deserves confidence for the work he does. So it is very important for a parent here now that to select a coach, establish a relationship, stick with him, results will come. But if you have a coach A, then coach B and coach C, and you feel that by doing this things are going to change, yes, you have to have additional help. At times you have to change coaches. There are some very valid reasons. Those are a different thing. Exceptional circumstances are different. But in normal course, if you just feel that by changing a coach, your child is going to become from A to B, that at least I feel is a fallacy. But on the other side of it, there are few things. For example, Shubhankar is playing in India today. Shubhankar is working with Jassi, and Jassi, as you know, has been outstanding. Not only the coach, he's an outstandingly mature person. He's an outstandingly mature person, and he connects with him so much. But behind that, a lot of homework has gone.
Right.
With the due respect to Jassi, a lot of homework has gone at my level. At many times, Jassi was not available. Many times, Jassi was not really as amenable as today. But that is part of his job. He has to do justice to everyone. He did not know that Shubhankar is going to take this when Shubhankar was 10, 12 or 14. It's not easy for him to know. And naturally, he gave him that attention. And if I would say my child should get as much attention as maybe that time, let's say Gagan was getting, or maybe Ajitesh was getting, or anyone else, it's the wrong assumption. So I have to have my own patience, my own understanding, establish my relationship, and wait for my time. And when you are there, then you're standing. What I'm saying is relationship establishment is very important. So having Jassi, for example, in India for us is a great thing. And Jassi has been traveling all over. But the matter of the fact is, Jassi has been mainly in India. Jassi has not really gone and coached in England or Scotland, Ireland, other places, or US. Obviously, he will have that kind of a shortcoming to go. Let's say a guy who's coached all the while in Europe and Jassi has coached all the while in here. And if tomorrow Shubhankar goes and takes some help from a European coach in some manner, let's say a particular wind or particular rain or a particular circumstance or particular weather, I don't think in such relationship anyone has a problem. Everyone understands. Jassi will be the first person to tell him, "Nahi, Shubhankar, yes, you're right. I'm not able to travel with you, and I've not been there, and I'm not there. If you find a value, go." And in many times he's told him, "Okay, whatever you want to do, I'm okay with that. You want. It's good that you get more knowledge, and we share and we go on." So that is a kind of relationship you have to establish. So this is, if any coach listening to me here, probably I don't know whether they are. So coach also have to have that faith in the student. What will happen? That cements your relationship. You cannot be possessive about your ward, and neither war can be over-reliant on someone. But having said that, there's a base. There's a base. You have to fall back to this. Sachin fell back to Achrekar all the time. He worked with all people. He worked with all coaches. They have Indian cricket team have team coaches. So he worked with everyone. But his base was Achrekar. Similarly, Shubhankar may work with 10 people or in future coming time. You never know. And it may one. But his base will always stay Jassi. So, dear parents or dear friends or the boys, whosoever is listening here, have a very special relationship with the coach. As I told you, just bow in front of coach in a true Indian style, in a true Indian tradition. We are in too much of a hurry of becoming, a European or American. They have their own culture and own standards. But in India, your guru is your guru. Your guru is very, very important. You not only need his coaching, you need his blessing. You need his vibes. You need his heart with you. And that's the only way to succeed. Otherwise, you're not going to. This is my conviction.
Beautifully said, Colonel Sharma, and completely resonate with that. And I really like the way you have, mentioned about his previous coach, Jesse Sir now, and the kind of impact. But tell me, so this triumvirate, this trio of parent, child, and coach, which is integral to the performance of the child eventually, how did you go about supporting the coach in what he was doing?
Yeah, so now there's a linked question. The question, what I realize is, I've seen so many parents, all the parents, luckily, we have very, very strong association with a lot of parents. In fact, speaking today, a lot of old friends of mine, the parents with whom we have played. I got about 10 calls today morning from 10 different parents. Okay, Col Sharma, please go on and we'll have to listen to you. I said, you guys are better than me. What will you listen? You have heard me all your life. So they said, no, it's not that. You've done something which we really love and we're very special and we'll still love to listen to you. It is just that magnanimity. What I'm saying is that I have some very good relationship with a lot of parents. And I'm one person, I believe, and I'm just telling you guys, that more number of players coming up who are at a great level, there's a more chances of your child growing better. He will get a benchmark. If there was only one Shubhankar and there are not 10 guys around him, Shubhankar wouldn't have leapfrogged and gone. He had something to work out. He had people around to beat and go. He had a benchmark. He had different guys. He had to see a consistency of Rashid Khan. He had to see a grit of Chikarangappa. He had to see the brilliance of Anirban Lahiri. He had to see, the longevity and grace of Jeev and, Arjun and Jyoti in India, and for that matter, Diggy and Chirag and all the senior guys. So he's been watching them and talking to them and learning from them, and one way or other, they all were there. That is why he is. If they were not there, he wouldn't be. Similarly, in his peer class, had there been no Joshi or no Hani Basoya or no any other number of boys I can name, then his progress would have been different. So my point of saying is that parents have to see a holistic picture. Holistic picture one is that having great relations among parents and not falling for small things. Number one, having great relation with the coach. So when I say having great relation with the coach, what I mean to say is that you have to trust your coach. You have to communicate with the coach. You have to make your point to the coach to the point. Now, chap like Jesse, I must tell you, he's not the guy. He doesn't have time to listen to it. I'm telling you, he's not listening to me too much also. And I saw that very early. I spoke to very less. Jesse may be hearing today this thing. So I'm just telling you, it's positive for him. He's such a professional. He's like a military man. He has his time. He does his time. He listens because he listens a lot of banter from people. He doesn't have energy and time to listen. And I saw that very early. So my communication with Jesse was very, very brief, very succinct, very to the point. Even till date, I speak to him absolutely to the point and succinct. Now that we have been traveling together and going, and we have become better friends, and we have become, more understanding, and we get more time to spend together. My point is, you as a parent, you have to understand what is the coach, what is their capability, what he can deliver, and ultimately, what do you want from him? You want from him that he passes his best trait to your child. You want that he passes his best body language, his best conduct, his best way of behavior, his best way of learning, or his best way of ethics of working, hard work, principle. This is what you look at coach, the guru. We are calling coach, I'm calling guru. So Jesse for me is Shubhankar's guru. He's not a coach. Shubhankar respects him like a guru. Shubhankar, I've never ever Shubhankar has come and criticized Jesse at home or he's spoken a bad word about him. He never done. This is the kind of relationship your child has to have. And this has happened because I never spoke a word against him. I never said anything which could ferment that kind of relationship. So that positivity about the coach, that respect for the coach, and that trust for the coach has to be very collective, which has to flow through you to your child. What happens is most of us fall in a trap. यार छोड़ यार मुझे पता है यार क्या करना है यार I know यार don't know this nonsense यार and this body saying is not right swing is here. We all are tigers. If you start criticizing a coach or if you start disbelieving a coach or if you start, I've heard many parents यार गए थे यार 2 बार वो 2-3 क्लास ली यार मजा नहीं आया. मैं कहा सर आपको नहीं मजा आया आपके बेटे को नहीं आया. कहता यार उसको तो समझ नहीं है मुझे पता नहीं आया. मैं कहा this is where you're going wrong. मतलब जो बच्चा कर रहा है ए बी या सी के पास तो बच्चे को पूछो ना यार को समझ आई आपको. आपने नहीं समझना, आप नहीं बन रहे हो, आपने सिर्फ देखना है, आपने अंडरस्टैंड करना है, आपने उसको फैसिलिटेट करना है. तो माय पॉइंट इज दैट दिस ट्रायो coach and student is very special. You as a parent can stand sometime and understand things better. Few things will understand better than child. Those things may not be necessarily about golf. It may not be about swing. It may be just the concept which coach is trying to convey, the principle what is trying to convey, the bigger point which is trying to say. When he goes and tells you, मैं तो कोई बता दिया इसके जाके काम कर. अब child will not understand काम कर, but you understand काम कर रहे हो मतलब he wants you to go and work for a week and just see that how you can incorporate it again. So this is your seniority and your age will interpret his direction in a better way. So it is your job to get it implemented. If something doesn't get implemented, something is not ready, then you can convey a point to a coach. Yes, sir, or Mr. So-and-so, you said so. He's trying to do this. He's not able to do this. And if you can have a look. And that's about all. Because you yourself are a pro and a coach. You understand how it is. How simple for a coach to see. A parent, a normal parent like me, as I said, who had no idea of all. So what can I go and tell Jesse? Even till date. So with me and Shubhankar, I think maybe when he was in category B, that is the last time I interfered with this coach and I spoke anything. Once he went from B to A, I absolutely stopped conveying any point to the same. I absolutely start telling any feedback. I just became a spectator. I just stood back and enjoyed myself. And between me and Shubhankar, a lot of chat happened, but it never happened that I go and tell ke jesse aaj na aap class mein kara do, aaj na aap ye kara do. He knows what he's doing, and Shubhankar knows what he wants. So my point is this relationship of a parent. Well, as a parent, so I will come more to this point now before you ask me this question. So the one aspect is this. No, second aspect of parenting, which I want everyone to understand, children also understand, is that a child, a 6-year-old Shubhankar Sharma, when he picks up a club for the first time, he has no idea what he's doing. His dad has no idea what idea can he have. He has no idea. He has no idea where he can go. He knows nothing. But he only can see that he's loving it and he's really liked it and he's really moving on it. Now that is where your role starts from there. That how best now you can channelize that love and that liking and that enthusiasm and into something special. But remember, child will only go where you take him. So for that, you have to reach before the child. Where you want to see, you have to reach before. I was just reading Michael Jordan's biography, and I read a lot of things about him. I really love him. He's one of the all-time best. Can you hear me now? He said you can't play a shot which you can't see. Conversely, he says what shot you see, go and play. So he says you have to see a shot to play. Unless you see a win, you will not win. So you have to see destination to reach, then only you reach. So a 7-year or 10-year or 12-year, he himself doesn't know or she herself doesn't know what is destiny. That destiny, your experience and your age and your understanding, san egos. I repeat, san your stupid egos. You have to see, you have to seek, you have to seek, you have to ask, you have to find out, you have to reach, and you have to identify. Having been very sure, then tell your sure child, yeah, buddy, this is the destination, this is where we're going, this is where you can go, and let's go. I will hold my hand and I'll take it. And for child, you're God. He will hold your hand. But if you're talking wishy-washy and if you're trying to be smart on everything, which you don't know, like most of us we do, we know everything. So what I'm saying is, I hope I'm not sounding I'm also part of that group. I'm not saying that I'm different. I am also part of that group. That this is what I learned. That we have to understand this. So our superior understanding should make us decipher the place where we can go. And after deciphering the whole thing, then you hold them from the finger and then with all your smartness and guile and love and affection and whatever, or maybe danda at one or time, and just take your child slowly there. And I can assure you, you will reach. That's what I'm going to say.
Col Sharma, I love the way you gave the example of how the relationship between a parent and a coach should be without interference and allowing them to build a rapport of their own. And the reverence and respect which Shubhankar has shown to both his coaches exemplary. You also said very nicely that there's enough information in the ecosystem how do you sift through what works and what doesn't work? Because it's very easy to get derailed and waste time, whereas sifting through what is going to support at the right time is also as important and critical as well. Uh, can you just give us some insights on that?
Again, I'll again come back to parenting. Uh, Success of your child or reach of your child is limited by the ignorance or misunderstanding or lack of knowledge of the parent, and vice versa. I repeat once again, your child's movement or success or reach is limited by your ignorance as a parent. Let's be very clear on that. मैंने अगर बच्चों को दुनिया में लाया है, ये मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, ये मेरी बॉन्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कि उन बच्चों को मैं उनकी डेस्टिनेशन में जाने में मदद करूं.
Can you just speak a little, get a little closer to the mic? Again, it's dropping.
It's better. Yeah. I said, if there are my children, if I have brought children to the world, it is my primary responsibility to guide those children in a direction and take them to a destination. Because till certain age, it doesn't happen all the time, but till certain age, when they're tender, when they're young, especially pre-teenagers, I would say in an English manner, 12 साल के बच्चे तक का भगवान, वो आपकी बात उसने मान लेनी है वैसे जैसे उसने भगवान की बात मानी. आपने बोलना दिन है वो बोलेगा दिन है, आपने बोलना रात है वो बोलेगा रात है, बिकॉज उसकी एनर्जीज, उसकी समझ, उसकी रीच, उसकी अप्रोच आपसे शुरू होती है, आप तक खत्म. So for anything special to happen, now when I'm saying all this, please don't take it in any manner that I'm trying to grandstand my own story. I have no story. I'm a very humble man. But here I am a soldier I'm talking to. As a soldier, what I've seen in my life, I'm talking to. It is so important that you as a parent, you have to lead by example, what we call in army. You have to stand at a place before your child has to go there. आप एक दरिया क्रॉस करवा रहे बच्चों को, पत्थरों पे पाँव रख के, आप आगे के पत्थर पे पाँव रखते हो, you pull your child and get him to that stone. Then you go to next stone, then you pull your child to next stone. Then you go to next stone, then you pull to, and then you cross a rivulet. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Life is like, it never happens that you push your child ahead, you go ahead, I will follow you. It never happens. It never happens. Life is like this. If you have to take your child to a destination, it is very clear that you have to be exemplary. You have to be top class in your conduct, in your thought, in your personal example, in what you do, in what you show. Because child is very smart. He needs to respect you for what you are, not what you speak. Get my point? He needs to respect you for what you are, not what you say. And today's child, जो आपकी और मेरी जनरेशन है, उस आज के बच्चे उससे 4 साल आगे हैं कम से कम भी. जो हम 12 साल में सोच सकते रहे वो आज 8 साल में सोच रहा है. जो हम 16 में सोचते रहे वो 12 में सोच रहा है. Because the world has changed. So it is very important that if you want to, it's not about golf, it's not about cricket, it's not about sport, it is about life. If you want to lead your child to a good path, you have to be embodiment of that manifestation. You have to become that to take your child to that. So this is my aspect of saying. So बच्चों के लिए अगर हमने लेके जाना है, so we have to be really very clear that we upgrade ourselves, and this upgradation is constant process. It does not stop at any level. So you should be, if you are lucky and if you are good, child should be able to see at you at every stage in life. If Shubhankar can still look up to me today when he's now going to be 24 and I'm 53, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky, and if I can sustain it some 4 more years, then I'm God.
Very nice.
It is not easy. It is not easy. It's tough. That's what I'm saying. So for a parent, it's an example. If you can lead by example, if you can show him, if you can mold him, then sky's the limit. Then you take it from me. Whatever you want your child to become, he will be. But if you not, otherwise there are stories otherwise also. I'm not saying this is the only story, but this is by and large is the story.
Very nice. So can you give us some examples as to certain things that you did with him, which were perhaps not the ordinary, but actually helped him in his journey going forward?
Yeah, I think something which happened by default. I think the biggest thing which happened by default was my leaving at so early stage. Can you hear me? The
We can hear
biggest
you.
thing which happened by default, the biggest thing by default which was happened in his life was, I leaving army in 2012, and by then he was very promising, and he was doing very well, and he was winning in junior level, and he was, he was, and and we started thinking, कि शुभंकर क्या करना है? How long we want to play amateur, and he was about 15 years of age, and what should we do? And we already started thinking, and I already started bouncing this idea of a lot of people, and with him, and he was always say, Papa, I can compete, and I think I can compete, and I can compete. I said, let's try. So at about 15 only, if I'm not wrong, and we before he won all Indian amateur championship around that time. So I said, okay, let's try. We requested PGTI, please can you give us a slot? And Mr. Mundi was very kind, and he says why not? And he got a slot in a tournament in the Golden Greens, and as an amateur he got a slot. And first tournament, last day he teed off in a leader group, and which was amazing. And the once we reached there, and Jyoti was practicing on he used to come to Golden Greens, and he was not playing the tournament. He was just practicing there. And Shubhankar was hitting the ball, and Jyoti didn't pay attention. I remember the day. He thought कि कोई होगा Jyoti late, आज Jyoti को पता कौन है. And then the call came for the leader group, and then he says so and so Mukesh Kumar, and who was the second guy, and Shubhankar Sharma, and he just left the ball and ran. The moment he ran, Jyoti just left the club and looked back. And he says, he's Shubhankar Sharma. He said, this boy is in a leader group in a PGTA event. And I moved away. By then I didn't know Jyoti. I knew him, but I not said hello ever. So we just moved on, and he didn't win it. Obviously, Mukesh Kumar was too highly, even he's still too highly for these boys to win. But then he finished in I think the top 10, and whatever that day he had 1 or 2 over. Next week another tournament, this time in IDC. Again they gave him a start. Again he finished top 10. So at 15, when he played 2 tournaments in PGTA as an amateur, and he finished top 10 in both, he came away and said, I think I can play. I said, I always know that you can play. But it was a doubt like. He says, Papa, I think, not a bad idea. We've been talking the idea of turning pro, no harm. And, next year when he went for Q school, and he won amateur championship, and with that, I think a week after the Q school, and he played Indrajit Lotia. And after playing, and he qualified. And after that, Indrajit, I don't know whether he's there on the line or not, he was hearing, and he made this thing, and his words I still remember. Kata, I've never seen a junior hitting balls so well. But that was his word. Kata, I've never seen in my life a junior having such a beautiful control of the ball flight. So I was so encouraged, and then he played in that tournament and moved on. So that was the time. Your question was, you were trying to, no, I lost the track.
So I'm going to bring you back to it. So basically, before we get to pro golf, so were there anything that you did specifically, different, that helped him progress?
What pushed him? So, I'm coming up. So that was the point. So that is the point I decided to leave. So, connected. So then when I left the game, when I left army, then it was very clear with him. Then it was very decided. कि शुभंकर golf अगर खेलना है और तुम्हें खेलना है, मैं तो खड़ा हूँ यार. I'm a bystander. I'm exhausted. Whatever I can do, I've done. I will make you play. I'll give you a house which is on rent, and we'll get खाना. ये चीजें इतने में कंडीशन हो जाएगा. मैं कुछ काम भी कर सकता हूँ. But खेलना है तो फिर बेटा खेलना है. अब खेलना है तो तब चलेंगे आगे. नहीं खेलेंगे तो फिर खड़े हैं. And I think that somewhere at the back of his mind, that hit him. That hit him, and that understood. It was typical. I gave him that army option. Okay, back to the wall. Now you're to stand and fight. And that option was very harsh for him, and that option was very strong for me. So I knew I can pull him off, but then I gave him that option. So, beta, this is the only way. Now you know what we are, where we are. Go. There's no way back. You have to only go forward. And I think from there on, he really took a step forward.
I'm not sure if people who are listening are getting the monumental step taken at this point of time, because it built a sense of determination in the young boy, that there is no back end. But you have to, like, failure is not an option. You have to just win. So very nicely done, Ji. But I'm again taking you back a little bit. Were there any other things that you were doing to encourage his ability as a player, other than the golf swing?
Yeah. So as I said, once golf was decided, he decided when he was in class 8th. I was in NSG, and when I came from the regiment, we came to NSG and we were playing in ITC. And in about 8, we sat one day. I said, Shubhankar, let's decide now. What do you want now? Now you're going to high school now. I think it was around 10th. YPS में 10th तक आ रहा था. So around 10th, or it was in Patiala. During that age, 14 maybe, around 8th, maybe in Patiala only, not in NSG. I asked him, Shubhankar, what is the aim in life, or what do you want to do? Golf खेलनी है या क्या करना चाहते हो? कहता पापा टाइम है हमारे पास. I said, है तुम्हारे पास, but who told you have time? टाइम आपका टाइम की डेफिनेशन आपकी क्या है? आप मेरे को समझाइए जरा. कहते पापा खेलेंगे, and lot of people tell that you have to play first amateur golf for a few years, and then you play amateur golf for a few years, then you get really strong and mentally strong and this. I said, who told you you're not mentally strong? Because a lot of people say. I said, who are the people who are telling you? I'm not letting people. I said, I'm the people for you. I don't think you require any mental strength. Well, there's a strong army corner. And he just gave a look at me. I said, give me a definition of mental strength.
Very interesting.
Can you really explain to me what is mental strength? What do you mean by mental strength? He says, मतलब डरना नहीं चाहिए. मैं तुम डरते हो, डरते नहीं. I said, फिर क्या है तेरी definition क्या है mental strength? So he really could not really come out with an answer. I said, that is where you are. I said, then I have to tell him what I have to tell him. I said, son, you are the strongest guy. I'm yet to see a stronger child than you in my life. So what's the doubt like? When I'm telling you, bloody go, khatam. दुनिया की बात मत सुना मेरे को. You understand how the Fauji talk? You understand? No? You understand?
Yeah.
I said, there's nothing. I said, you give me a definition. And then, other things that started was that during my command, he would come with me, morning run, he will come with me every day morning. He will go for a 5-kilometer run when he was very young. I would go for game, morning parade, he will come from. Evening when I'll go to play, he will be with me. So he was like my shadow. We'll play golf together, come back to basketball court, play basketball, and come back and come play some cricket, and come run around morning 5 kilometers. There is someone would help him here and someone would help him. And I was a commanding officer, so he had that leeway of moving around wherever he wanted to go and play and utilize facilities of a beam or a rope or a this, and he will do all those things. But anyone who will see him will be very helpful and pleased with him. The young boy is trying to do something. So on the golf course, everyone is very encouraging to him. So all these things really build him up. But so I kept 2 things that physical fitness was part of the game. So he was put through, and in the regiment I did my best, whatever he could do. And another thing we started was Meena, my wife. She put a lot of emphasis that emphasis of meditation, how he needs to connect with the Almighty, or how he needs to small little thing. मंदिर में जाना है, जा करके ही जाना है, या हाथ में लाल डोरी बांध लो बड़े दिन के लिए, भगवान का नाम ले लो. All those small little things which सूर्य देव को पानी दे लो, or माँ बाप के पाँव छू लो. All those things, these things, my wife was very strong on these things. So these are basic Indian values which went along with it. So with this, he had less time to get left, right, and center. So as I said, it's a destiny. He came with a destiny of such environment, maybe such parents or such people who, for whatever worth it is, good, bad. But this, he grew up in a traditional Indian, I won't say traditional Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, no, a traditional Indian style, a traditional Indian boy who knew the values, whose feet were on ground. So that is what I think helped him.
Tell me, during his schooling days, how did you manage both schooling and golfing, and your take on schooling versus education and sport as education?
Yeah. So it's a discussion with a lot of children. A lot of children, especially, children hear a lot of things from a lot of places, and then children gets influenced. children naturally they're likely to get. That is where I said that the topmost reference point for a child should be his mother or a father. This is I won't say mother or father, I would say mother and father. Because if the or comes in, there's a problem. But that is another story I will tell you. So, firstly, parents have to think alike. That is so very important. If two parents do not think alike about child's future, then they compromise the chances by 50%. I repeat myself. Any field which a child wants to take, if both parents do not agree on that side, they compromise child's chances of success by 50%. This is so important, especially in the game, any sport. That is one thing. Child has to be absolutely clear that parents are rock behind them. So that gives them a different experience. Coming down to schooling, so when his schooling went was the point that when he after 10th, when he came from YPS Patala and we moved to NSA. So that was the time to take a decision. Okay, what to do? Kya karna chahiye? And a lot of children were doing well. I won't want to name people, but a lot of children were doing very, very, very well. And then, for whatever reason, they took decision. Okay, college भी तो करना है. You live only once. बच्चे की बचपन भी तो है. उसने बचपन भी तो जीना है. हमने भी तो बचपन जीना है. उसका बचपन भी तो वेस्ट ना हो जाए. वो कल उसकी यादें क्या रह जाएंगी. तो उसको स्कूल कॉलेज में जाना है. यादें क्रिएट करनी है. तो यादें भी तो कैसे होगा. बोलेगा कि मैं कॉलेज गया था और लड़की घुमाई थी और पिक्चर देखी थी या लड़का घुमाया था. वो तो खत्म हो गया. तो उसके बिना वो करेगा सब कुछ, फिर प्लेयर बनेगा. So this was my immediate point of contention to everyone. I said, भाई साहब ये दो चीजें इकट्ठी नहीं हो सकती. I said, you can't have best of everything. You are not God. Even Ram went to with Vishwamitra when he was very young, and he came back after learning everything and staying in jungle. In mythologically, if you speaking, or anyone else, any other story, or you say Tiger Wood, he joined a university and he left and moved on. Australian champion, he joined a university. So many, Jordan Speed. There are very few people who finish university, maybe with the exception of maybe Phil Mickelson or one or two more guys. I'm not saying it is wrong. I'm not saying it is. There's no two ways. There's nothing right and wrong. But what I'm saying is that if you have to choose a career, if you have to choose a thing, your basic effort has to be there. You cannot digress. In today's time, when we are heavily infested with mobile and laptops and iPads and movies and all kinds of rut, what you can imagine, it will take your mind away. What to talk of a 16-year-old? Diggy will agree with me on this.
Absolutely. Big menace.
It's a menace. It's a shame that we are exposed and we're calling it a progress. It is not. It is so easy to get out of it. So my point is, if you send a child to graduation now, we have seen today's time. You see COVID now, everything is closed. No, everything will change after this, by the way. But what do you mean by education? Education is going into college and having upshop and growing in that fashion and जो भी हमारे college में होता है और degree लेके जेब में डालना और marks लाना. Is that education? Or education is this going and playing in a US Open at the age of 20? Or education is to going and passing graduation at the age of 21? What is bigger fun? What experience? What is bigger thing? Boris Becker won Wimbledon at 16. All the young girls, Steffi Graf and all those old time people, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 are winning. All your Jordan Speeds and all your Justin Johnson, all your Thomas, Justin Thomas and all those people, like 20, 21, 22, they all are winning and moving. So my point of saying is that if you're clear what you want in life, in my view, a guy who can go and win a PGA event, he's a graduate. A guy who can win in Asia is a master. And guy who can win beyond, he is a super master. उससे बड़ी education नहीं है life में. Look, I tell you something interesting. I'm a BSc. I'm telling you about myself. I'm a BSc. I've done BTech. I've done masters. I've done diploma. And I've done so many other things. And I've done more. My wife has done MSc in 3 subjects. And she's a doctorate. And she's a doctorate. I'm just telling you, please understand. We have 8 or 9 degrees between us. And a lot of people understand education, and humbly I can tell you, we also understand education. If I can take a decision that my son does not have to go to a regular college, there has to be a meaning. There has to be meaning. So what I'm speaking from personal experience. You're doing degree here, or you're doing degree from Timbuktu, or you are from wherever. Fine, you will go, you learn better English. You will go, you will become better aware of these things. But then you are good for that world. You go to corporate, you go to wherever you want to go. You will succeed. Why not? You will become a big bubble, but you will not become a Sachin. You will not become a Virat Kohli, or you will not become a Tiger Woods, or you will not become all these things. It is not possible. It's not possible. It is. I'm very convinced of this. College golf and all, these are brandings. They sell college golf. Out of 10,000 college golfers, one golfer will be becoming PGA Tour winner. I can give it in writing. I've not read the statistics, but I can give it in writing. So they are selling 10,000 seats in the name of golf. And if they produce one PGA winner, that too in the US, what chance do you and me stand going from India and finishing college there? हमारा कल्चर ही डिफरेंट है. यहाँ से यूएस चले जाएंगे, हमारी आंखें ही पता नहीं यहाँ से टूट के पीछे चली जाती हैं. हम इंडिया में कैसे जीते और वहाँ लोग कैसे जीते हैं, वो एडजस्ट करते करते ही पागल हो जाएंगे. वर्ल्ड तो गई फेल बेचने के बाद. I'm talking in straight Hindi. So my point of saying
very valid point, very valid.
It's a very important decision which parents have to make. If you want to make your child an educationalist and a very good thing, well done, please do that. But if you think that he will go alone, play golf and become a magician and then become a Tiger Woods, I give one chance in 100 million. I don't find a chance there. This is a chance. Very recently, last year we had a chat. Without naming again, I'm telling you, a very promising young boy. They had all the plans to shift.
Just a little louder, Ji. Sorry.
Very recently,
yeah.
There's nothing, nothing to say. I'll just say that. I was talking to Adil and Harry. Harry had a very strong idea that, Col Sharma decided to shift to England, and I'm doing my masters there. I'm taking leave and I'm taking Adil. And Adil, is a very, very promising young boy. And I'm taking him to US, and he will play there and play PG and this and that. So, and he talks to me a lot, and he's a good fellow. And Adil, I love, he's a good boy. I said, "Yaar, mere saath 2 minutes baat karo." And I said, "Yaar, give me a roadmap. If by going to US, what are you going to achieve? How fast and how late and how it is going to happen? Tell me." He gave me some story. I heard it. I said, "Now you take my story." I said, if you put Adil, who's such a good boy, if you send him to India and make him play here, I said, you want to make him do graduation, post-graduation from England and make a name that is a US educated, or you want him a successful golfer? He said, successful golfer. I said, then why don't you understand that this route where you're playing, if he wins this year in PGTI, next year he'll play in Asia, and third year before that, he'll be playing in Europe, and God knows where he goes. And the kind of work ethics you're putting into him and the way the boy he is, why aren't you seeing a state route and doing this? And obviously not on my own thing. He took a decision. They changed the decision, and Adil has won. Today he's a winner on PGTI, and he's playing in Asia, and he has a sky to look forward. So what I'm saying, these are discussions which we all parents we have. These are discussions all of us we talk. There's so many other examples I want to give you. I can give you. But what I'm not saying that I said that he changed. No, but this was my clear take. I could see this, and it has happened. So what I'm saying is, in today's time, parents and children, बच्चों को ये सोचना है कि बाहर कुछ नहीं रखा हुआ, जो आप बाहर ढूंढ रहे हो, सब कुछ यहाँ पे है. अगर आपका पैशन, अगर आपने एक्सेल करना है गोल्फ में, या आपने अपने स्पोर्ट में एक्सेल करना है, जो भी आपका फील्ड ऑफ चॉइस है, आपने एक्सेल करना है, आपने फोकस आपका वहां पे है, बाकी पेरिफेरल पे आपका फोकस नहीं होना चाहिए. That's what I'm saying.
I think it's a very good point, G, and I think it's great information for a lot of parents who are listening in they're trying to evaluate between going to college golf or finding a route to do that. I think we have great examples in Anirban as well, who chose to stay back and as actually now is on the USPGA Tour. Yeah.
Wonderful. And Anirban took even more, radical route. He was very clear that he wants to do graduation, and he did it graduation. He has his own set of circumstances. He was with Vijay Devecha, and he was happy. And he said in the other day that he started a couple of years late. And he said that he had his own thing. He had his own mind. But then he's a brilliant guy, and he's maybe thinking that he's lost a couple of years, or maybe not. but I think he's phenomenally well. Who knows? Had he started maybe at 18, 19, he would have maybe 4 times beat his opponent. I will say a different way. So it is his choice. What I'm saying is there's nothing wrong. Both ways are fine. So what I'm trying to say, okay, you have to make a very clear choice. Anirban made a very clear choice. G made a very clear choice. Went and won, and he's made a life of this, which is a very, very shining thing. But who knows that these boys are the current Shubhankars, Lord, they may they may see even better success by the route they took. So this is all all understanding of life, how every individual understands.
Very nice, Ji. It brings me to, and before I ask you a little bit about your experiences, outside India and meeting Bruce Kepka's parents, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But before that, I just wanted to ask you that turning professional was quite a big decision at such a young age, and some thoughts that went behind it.
Yeah, actually, a lot of thought went behind it. So we had a time plan in our mind, and we and Shubhankar, we kept discussing. Our discussion was only golf. Till today, we keep discussing only golf. Another day, we were saying, Papa, let us talk something else now. Just now, during this lockdown, कहता पापा ने पूरी उम्र golf की बात की, अभी हमें और कुछ बातें करनी चाहिए. मैं कहा क्या? Like economy, like world affairs, like all those things. We should be talking more on life. I swear. So since then, we are talking about everything other than golf. So, but there were days when we only spoke about golf. So we spoke all the time about golf. All right. So there were some timelines we fixed. Okay, this we can do. But when we came here, when he had to turn pro, as I told you, when I put him behind the wall, he's back to the wall. Son, now here you have to go, and here you go. But then I spoke to a lot of people. I'll be honest with you. Any friend I met, I spoke to a lot of people. Here, my Shubhankar ko turn karna cha raha hu, pro turn. And I must confess to you today, I must tell you, 90% people said no. 90% people said no. I had a detailed discussion with Vijay in Mumbai BPGC. Shubhankar was saying I went and he had just done this, and Vijay said he's a great talent. I have seen him this thing, but I think Col Sharma we made a wrong decision. It's too early, too much of pressure on him to say, and and he's a great friend, and he meant everything right. But he was absolutely speaking in my favor. He was not saying for anything. He actually felt it. It could be wrong. And even when I went to Jassi that time when he turned, and Jassi didn't say no, but Jassi was like 50-50. Jassi was saying, okay, bacha hai, or, it can happen this, it can happen that. Jassi was this. And I said, fine. But Jassi is one person who's really mature. He's not a guy who will say yes or no. He will always, leave a question open and think. But many people, only 2 people who are absolutely clear that he should turn pro. The first guy to tell me was Jasjeet Singh, the apna jo amateur champion, Jasjeet from Noida. You get a point?
Yeah. Okay.
Jasjeet ke saath Shubhankar pata nahi kahan khela. After a round, Jasjeet comes to me. Kehta, sir, should I tell you one thing? I said, boli Mr. Jasjeet. Kehta, sir, what are you waiting for? This boy should turn pro.
Very nice.
And that tone, I said, what happened? And he was playing with him, and on one of the greens I think on the 14th green on DGC, Shubhankar was playing with him in amateur in leader group as something. Shubhankar took a swing, ball उसने मारा, bunker shot खेला और ball वहीं रह गई.
Okay.
अंदर आके दोबारा club मारा वहाँ पे, again club into bunker, and then took third shot and went. And Jasjeet put a penalty on it. And Jasjeet put a penalty on him, and Shubhankar वापस आया, कहता पापा sir ने penalty लगा दिया. I said, what happened? कहता, this is what happened. And to be now another confession, I had no idea. I thought I didn't know that this is a penalty. That you can't ground the club when the ball is inside. So he says, Papa, I played the shot. So ball वहाँ थी, मैंने ball को थोड़ी मारा, मैंने तो खुदा club मार दिया. So I said, no, there must be something. And we found out definitely it was a penalty. And Jassi, after the game, Jassi told me that I gave youngster a lesson today. So this is what. But Jassi's a great guy. I really liked him after that. Kata, this is a penalty, and this he'll remember for his life. Because playing in a leader group, this thing, he gets a penalty, he'll remember. And I'm so thankful that he could have always ignored it. That just a game chalti hai. But it was a great idea. This was he told me, and he told him that this is a teaching. You will not forget for his life, and this is something we should remember. And
very nice.
उसको पता होना चाहिए. And then he told me, he says, sir, please turn in. Don't waste time. There's nothing in amateur golf for him. Amateur golf is dead. And I moved on. And second guy was, who was totally yes, was Mr. Mundik.
Sorry?
Uttam Mundik.
Okay.
I met Uttam in DLF. Some tournament was on. And I said, Mr. Uttam, I just want a suggestion from you. He says, yes, please tell me. I said, should I turn Shubhankar Pro? By then, he had finished those tournaments in top 10 or not. Kata, sir, immediately. I said, how are you sure? Kata, what are you waiting? There's nothing. Kata, there's nothing for him outside. Kata, golf, amateur golf में कोई जान नहीं है. Kata, अगर आपने इसको आगे लेके जाना है, this is the way. Just get it. So these two people were the only people who was absolutely forthcoming in turning pro.
Wonderful.
And Jassi was 50-50. Jassi was 50-50. But Jassi was right because his game didn't have those strengths, neither distance nor this, and he was a young boy. Baki, everyone negative. So, but then as I told you, I'm man of my own conviction. I'm man of my own conviction. In my life, I made decisions the way I think is right. And I said, Shubhankar, let's go. And we went on.
Well done. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a question. I mean, Shubhankar's been doing some incredible things. For example, he shot a 10 under in the last round of the Maybank Championship to win his second European Tour title. Now, it's not been seen in India in a long time that somebody shoots a 10 under, comes from 4 shots behind to win with a margin of 2 shots. It's a reflection of mindset more than technical ability or anything. How did you build and how did he build such a mindset?
Yeah. By the way, this was his second 10 under on our last round.
All right.
You know that? You remember? You know that?
I am not aware of the first one.
Yeah. His first 10 under was in Manila.
Okay.
2 years before, he was playing Manila Masters and his card was online. That was the last tournament of the tournament and he had to finish well.
Wow.
And that day, he shot 10 under that day. And he was leading for some time. Then groups from behind came forward and they won. And then SSB won the tournament. And he finished 4th, I think.
Oh, wonderful.
So that was his first 10 under, what he shot there. And this winning 10 under was, more remembered. So what I'm saying is that he's that kind of a boy. He's that kind of a mindset of, as I said, my thought with him and my talk with him was always something like this, that, you are the best. You are the best. There's no truth about that. I'm seeing the game and mind you, I'm not saying as a father. It's not any big statement I'm making. No, it's very. I'm just giving this. You can take it my hint for the parents, anyone who's hearing, or for the children, that you have to have that mindset. Okay, if you are playing and someone else playing, how can someone else can come and beat you? You can beat anyone. What's the problem? It's a game. So his mind setup was that was the basic thought which was there, that you can do things and you can make things happen. And in that sense, and another thing what we always emphasize with him, to live in the moment, to live in that moment. Nothing ahead, nothing behind. Your job is to live in that moment, and that ends the matter. You cannot think about anything else. That the shot which you're playing is the winning shot. Nothing after that, nothing before that. So that kind of a thing which we have been trying to inculcate, and I think something has stuck. And thirdly, the man is sort of, he has his own mindset. When he's in a rhythm, when he is feeling happy, I realize that whenever he's happy at heart, whenever he's happy in mind, and whenever he's he's really cheerful, normally he's very cheerful. And then I think he can go and achieve anything. He doesn't get stopped at that. That is his destiny. As I said, he has come with that destiny. It is not my making. It is his karma.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me, the Open Championships, interacting with world number 1 Bruce Koepka's parents. I'm sure you were knowing you were obviously exchanging information and things. Are there any things that you saw what a world number 1 is doing, what his parents were doing for him, which you could, share here for the benefit of everybody?
First thing, I must thank RNA and the Open people. They've been very nice to him in 2 ways. That first time also when he went and teed off, they paired him with Sergio Garcia and Deschamps. And this time they paired him with Bruce Koepka and and Luis Ostojic. I think this was one of the best groupings. They have been very nice to him. I think they see potential in him, or they see whatever they see in him. Well, it's very nice of them to give him such nice grouping from the beginning. So this, I'm really very happy. So I, walking with Bruce Koepka. Koepka is a bit of is naturally a stiff guy. Koepka is not a very chilled out guy. He's not a very open guy with a normal public. He stays in himself and he's But his parents are exactly opposite. What happened was, interestingly, I give you a incident that at first I must tell you that is his first professional event when he turned pro. It was with a European Challenger event in Kenswell.
Kenswell, that's right. He played with him. Yeah.
Yeah, at that time, Kenswell, I requested the owner of Kenswell and they gave him an invite. And he landed up playing with Bruce Koepka on third and fourth day. And Bruce Koepka also shot 10 over and he also shot 8 over, 10 over, or whatever. And they were like, that was the first thing. So this time when he played with, this time Koepka was a different guy. So when as walking, so this course was up and down. Ireland Portrush was very up and down place. So we were moving and obviously Koepka was there and a lot of people were walking and we were also walking. So भाग के यहाँ से वहाँ से छुपा के short shoot देख रहे थे. So in a couple of holes, it just so happened that I would go and when I reached, I would just go and stand with the two ladies, the same ladies, and the third thing came and again I found myself next to them. So it was happening that we both were finding similar places from where we could have the best look on the high vantage point and see. So and another third hole we were walking and this lady walks up to me, says, "Are you Sharma's father?" So I said, "Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much." I said, "How do you know?" Kathy, no, he's an Indian boy, and you're Indian. There are very few Indians there, and I thought you were walking all the while with him. So I said, "Very nice. Kathy, very good player." I said, "Very nice of you." I just walked. I thought, "Kaun hai?" And I thought, I asked mom, "Who are you following? Are you following a player here?" Kathy, Brooks is my son.
Okay.
So it was so humbling. It was so humbling, and I was taken aback. I said, "I'm so sorry that I didn't recognize you." Kathy, why should you recognize me? I'm no one. No, how can you recognize me? No one can recognize me. So that's why I'm going to see. I'm very happy that no one recognizes me. So I said, obviously, I said, what a player your son is, and what a great champion. Natalie Koepka done some great things. So she was so warm, and she was very fondly remembering, Koepka, and, how the boy he is, and how single-minded he has been, and how hard work he's been doing, and just to be decent, she said, "No, even your son is very impressive player. He's playing so well, and a young boy, and I'm very proud of him." And that was his, decent part of it. And luckily, Shubhankar was playing well that day. Shubhankar played, I think, 1 under, and Koepka played 3 under. So Shubhankar was that day bogey free 1 under. So he had a great round. So he says, "No, wait." I said, "Okay, please watch." Said, No, wait. My husband is also there. He's also walking, and he'll be very happy to meet you. So I said, "That'll be very nice." I said, "Where is he?" Kata, "He's away. He's on his own." Kata, "He sees from different places, and I from different places. There's so many people." So I said, "Fine." So do hole aage chale, so she somehow caught him and got him to me. Kata, "This is my husband," and Kata, "This is Sharma's father." Oh, wo bhi bade warmly mila. And such good people, and he kept talking, and we kept walking next 8-9 holes together, me and his father. And he told me some very interesting stories about him and about Chase Koepka. He was very fondly talking, and how Brooks is, setting his goals and achieving them, and how much hard work he does, and how single-minded he is, and how much work he does. Well, he gave me a lot of inputs into this. But what impressed me was that their humility and their absolute groundedness, and then they're requesting me for pictures rather than me requesting them for pictures, and obviously I also do pictures. What I'm saying is, so great. That's what I'm talking parents' role now.
In fact, I'm going to just share a picture of yours with them. But please carry on. I don't want to interrupt your answer.
Yeah. So what happened was, so maybe that gave me that one more example of parents' role in child's growth. That these guys were so humble and so down to earth. Naturally, they gave some values to the children that both are playing on PGA. Elder one is the world number 1, and second one is also playing in Europe and PGA. So these are some values which children carry. These are the values which So it was very quite memorable, those 2 days walking and the 2 days they played, and then of course then we took our own ways.
But do you recall anything specific they said about what they had done to encourage Bruce, or
Yeah,
which you think is worth?
to be honest with you, I ask any such questions because these become very interviewing kind of questions. These become very personal kind of questions because he's a world number one. So it becomes unnecessary probing. No point in probing people. It would give. But we had a lot of chats. Where we had a lot of on different various, right from the U.S. politics to their golfing world and PGA and what is happening all over. So we had wide-ranging chats with them, with especially his father. But I did not really ask too many questions about him because for obvious reasons I told you. So this is what she's a very 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 warm lady, very warm lady, and this guy is very very good, very very.
You can tell in the pictures that there's a kind of warmth about them.
Yes, just yes, very. They were very very warm. I'm just saying that this guy, his father especially, he walked with me, and at times I would lose him, but still he will come and join. So it was wonderful. They're very nice people, and he showed me some pictures of programs. He played with Phil Mickelson, and then he played with someone else. He had all those pictures and because I played so and so program. And he says, "Are you also playing some program?" I said, "I've never requested. Why should you not play?" I said, "I never wanted. I don't have time." And I told him some story, but it kept me thinking. I said, "Yes, they're right. I think I could play somewhere."
So I want to ask you, in this journey, there must have been some mistakes also which you felt you made without realizing you were making them, and maybe you could share them because they could also benefit some others from avoiding them.
So some players, some people,
yourself, people, whatever you think.
Otherwise the people I'm meeting in other places. Yeah. Let me tell you that I think till date, I would be one of the very rare parent. I've seen Shubhankar playing almost 80% of his competitive shots I've seen playing. Because last year I went slightly less. Otherwise it would have been maybe 85-90%. I've seen him playing 80% of his competitive shots, what he's played in golf. I've seen it. I walked all courses. I walked all his rounds. I walked everywhere since from the day one, maybe right from juniors, but or amateur or everywhere. So this journey has been really fantastic. I met so many of them. You asked me 2-3 pictures I sent you this picture and coaches. I sent you Ledbetter's pictures also. You have Ledbetter's picture?
I haven't put that up. No.
This is Jesse.
I think Jesse is better.
Jesse, yeah. So Jesse Ledbetter met me in Place Lounge in I think last US Open. Another great guy. He met me and he recognized me. He says, "You're Indian boy's father." I said, "Yes." And he was sitting right next to us, and we got chatting. And very very fine person. So, but I like this. I met so many of them, so many people. I normally don't go around clicking pictures with people very often. But yes, I have a lot of pictures with, or a lot of chats with Phil. I met many times. Stenson and Sergio, all these guys. I met them. It is fantastic. It's a phenomenal story. Well, how many stories I can
But I want to zero back to the question that any mistakes which you feel that you might have made in this journey, or you feel other parents are perhaps making inadvertently. Obviously, everybody's trying to do their best.
Mistakes. Okay, you're talking mistakes. Okay. No journey is perfect, actually. If I say that I was, I'm Helavathi Marka, no, sorry, it's not. All of us make mistakes. All of mistakes happen. But I can only tell you that till date, in our life, in our golfing journey, I don't think we have made any mistakes in that sense. In that sense that we can know, yeah, had we not done that. God willing, there has never been such a moment. Here, had we done that, that would have happened. No, it never happened. We played bad at places, we played good at places, we did all this. But we never cribbed. There is no regrets. There is God is really kind. So things have been really, till now, whatever we planned sort of happened. God bless.
Wonderful. There are a lot of kids who are listening here, and some of them are also very keen to see Shubhankar. So maybe at the end, I'll just request you to get him on the screen.
I will call him.
But before that, what would your advice be to kids? Because today's kids, parents keep on saying the same thing sometimes. They don't put it across well enough. I'm one of them, and the kids don't listen to their own parents, but they're happy to listen to people who can give good advice. So what would your advice be to them?
So are there enough kids to listen? Are there?
I think there are quite a few kids on this call. Yeah.
There are quite a few kids. Okay. No, my advice to kids is that guys, for you, your everything, what you are or what you can be is your parent. Just remember my word. Nothing else can replace your parents' advice. Nothing else can replace your parents' blessings. Nothing else can replace your parents' vibes. Someone asked Leander Price once. Okay, in big stadiums when you play, and a lot of people, see a lot of people cheering for you, and a lot of people doing this. How do you feel? So you know what Leander said. He said, Kada, don't get carried away by all these cheers. Kada, at my heart, I know that only person who's cheering from my heart is my mother sitting there in the corner. But the rest all is a show off. So remember this. This is none other than Leander. I consider him one of the top 3 sportsmen of India ever. This is my reading. Leander is, to me, he's one of the top 3 sportsmen of India in any sport. He's such a legend. What he said there's only one person, buddies, who's sitting in that entire crowd, who's really feeling for you and who really blessing you with your parents. So all of you kids, please remember that anyone who really is cheering for you, is fighting for you, want for you, is your parent. No one else. So please respect your parents. Please respect your parents' advice. Please listen to your parents. Whatever world may tell you, it has no comparison with your parent. Your parent may be slightly outdated as per you, but make no mistakes. He's ahead of you. You may feel that you are hell of a cat today. Make no mistakes. He has seen everything which you can imagine or which you can't imagine. He knows everything. And the best part is he knows inside out of you. He has produced you into the world. He knows everything about you. He knows कि मतलब आप क्या खाते हो, आप पीते हो, क्या सोचते हो, आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है और आप दिखा के रहे हो, उसको दिख रहा है सब कुछ. So if you trust him, if you trust his judgment, if you respect him, you have sky's the limit. If you somehow miss that out, you may still make it, but you'll suffer. Route will be longer. It will be arduous, more tedious. That's all I have to say.
Very nice. That's some wonderful advice right there. And I hope the kids who are listening and those who watch the recordings in the future, take these words as absolute gold. Before I open up other questions, I just want to ask you one last one. You gave me a lovely comment about sponsorship. Fauji, I'm a Fauji background. My dad was in the army as well. I know how tough it is as a sport. It's an expensive sport. You still managed, and I know it must have taken a lot of effort to manage the expenses, but you still did not seek sponsorship. You said that do not seek sponsorship till you are really good. Just share us some thoughts on that, because in my mind, I think that kind of thinking also gave Shubhankar that mental edge that I'm not going to ask anybody for anything till I'm the best.
Yeah. So sponsorship today, what I've seen is that it has become a fad. Firstly, point is very well understood, and it is very, very important point to understand that golf is an expensive sport still in our country. It's not really easy to play. Only people been playing sponsored today. A lot of people have come to support the children, and a lot of people are playing, and courts are opening up. But still, it is out of reach of a common man. That much I understand. So that is a different story altogether, how we can promote sport and how government can take on this thing. Today morning, one of my friends and his child was asking that, in India, how it can grow. So this is something which government has to look at. This is a huge potential in sport. What we see in the smallest possible countries, which are not even the size of our states, their economies are thriving on sport like golf. So that's a different question. Coming on to your sponsorship as a player. So I think this thought itself is slightly self-defeating. When you start thinking of sponsorship and not playing, you're losing out on something. I repeat myself once again. It is not that you don't get asked for sponsorship. It is not that you don't want sponsorship. It is not that you should not get sponsorship. You must get sponsorship. You must have. But the point is that if you start thinking of sponsorship before you play, playing is your main thing, not the sponsorship. Number one. Number two, sponsorship only will come when you are something. It's like a hen and egg thing. Not that today I'm saying that I had sponsors who are kind and who can play and therefore I'm making a statement. No. Even if I'm making a statement now, at hindsight, I'm making a lot of understanding. I gave you a story the day we were chatting. So there's a Titleist guy, he's a Chinese guy who's on the Asian tour. I'm audible, huh?
Yes, you are.
On Asian tour. So this guy is quite a tight kind of a guy. He's not very open guy. Like we have Paritosh always smiling in India and helpful. But in Asian tour, this guy is slightly stiff guy. I don't know whether he's still there or not. But somehow he's a good friend of mine. Whenever he would meet me and I was, hi girl, how are you? And we exchange matters, this and that. So in 2014, we were sitting in the lounge and he had access. We were talking. And I asked him, okay, at that time we had no sponsors and I was feeling pinch. And I asked him, I said, what is criteria for you guys to pick up a player? How do you pick up a player? And my thing working in my mind was that why Titleist can't pick up Shubhankar and and sponsor him. So he got me. He says, Colonel, should I tell you one thing? I said, he says, should I tell you one thing? I said, yes. He says, never think of sponsorship. Your job is to play. It is the job of the sponsors to find you. It is not your job to find sponsors. And I said, I understood. And he said, sponsors require you as much as you require them. They require you more. But yes, there are so many people going to them that they are pricey. If people don't go to them, then they will come to you. You'll be a person in demand, not he. So he says, just go and do your job. And I can assure you, sponsor will be in line for you. There'll be no doubt of sponsor. If you play well, equipment and all these things will be no issue with you. You'll have much more sponsors. But remember, playing is the key, not the sponsor. And we said, we had a glass of beer, we said chit chat, and I didn't want to say anything further, and neither I wanted to ask, but he offered an opinion, which I took, and I remembered it very well. And and today I remember that comment even after 6-7 years. How right is that comment? And it is something like he gave me Gita ka श्लोक दे दिया कि आप के कर्म करो आप अपना कर्म करिए फल की इच्छा मत करो फल आएगा. So same for you guys, all parents and all these things. I'm telling you, not that I didn't approach anyone. I had to approach. But I approached in a more sensible manner. I approached the people, who by then Shubhankar was, he had won a couple of times and, he had placed himself. And then it was easier for him to get sponsors. I must mention name of Ajay Srinivasan, who's been extremely nice to us. And, DLF, of course, was the bedrock for us for so many years. DLF was, and now we have Nike and Indorama and all these guys are fantastic. They're phenomenal people. I can't explain to you how good they are and how it is none of my doing. It is none of no one's doing. It is just what Shubhankar did and what a person he stands for, and what a person he is. That is what important. So basically, golf is not about swinging, as I said. Is about what a person you are, what you signify, what you present, and what you do. Just do your job, and I can assure you, sponsors will not be a problem in your lives. It is not. You can't be kept waiting too long. You have to do your job. And now,
I think it's beautifully put, sir, and great advice again for all those who are listening. I'm just going to open up now for some questions from the audience, and
yes,
just reading them randomly. There is no specific order, but
no worries.
What advice do you have for a struggling 20-year-old amateur golfer?
Yeah, he has to, again, as same thing. He has to find, look inwards and see, does he have a fire? He has to look inside. When you call 20-year-old struggling golfer, it's the wrong word. Because when at 20, if you think you're struggling, then it is not a good idea. You can't be struggling at 20. You should be just burning to go and do well at 20. So this is the attitude. This is the attitude issue. Whosoever the name is, and we don't have to take name. A guy has to, his attitude has to be correct. 20 year, you are just born. 20 year is no age. You have world in front of you. In US terms, they are still in college, and then after college, then they do and do this and do that. 20 year is no age, Mr. Digraj. But question is your attitude. If your attitude, if you have attitude, if you have a fire in the belly, you will succeed. There's no doubt. Have just single focus on what you're doing. Nothing can stop you.
Very nice. Excellent. A question was, how did it feel when Shubhankar won his first international tournament? Your feelings as a father?
I think my best feeling till date when he won was when he won All India Amateur as a 16-year-old, beating Viraj, local boy in Calcutta. Viraj is very dear to us and the family, and everyone is very this thing. So it was a great fight between them. I was not there, and the half an hour lecture which he gave after that win was priceless. he kept on speaking. I don't know what he spoke. This is phenomenal. So I don't think I'll feel as happy ever like that I felt, unless he wins Masters tomorrow. That happiness may be bigger. But that first amateur win of his to win All India Amateur Championship was the best. I was on the top of the moon. I didn't sit. I was not there. I was in Gurgaon, and he, after first 18, he was I think 4 up or 3 up, and he gave me a call sitting in this thing. I said, son, match has not started. It is just forget it. It was a practice round. We were 4 shot up. It is a practice round. Match starts now. Start from 0. Don't count those 4 shots. Those are finished. Match starts now. You have to win this 18. That 18 is not there.
Very
not
nice.
Counted. So and he went and then there's one of his friend Arjun Sharma, another Fauji son, a good boy. I called him. I requested him in the last 9. I said, please keep telling me every hole what is happening. And he would call me every hole. And mind you, I was standing for all those 18 holes. I was standing in my house and moving from room to room to room to room to room. All 18 holes, I was walking. And he won. I was top of the world. Yeah. So that was amazing.
I must tell you, we manage Mr. Milkha Singh. We have the privilege of my company. So he was a little unwell at one point. He was in hospital with chikungunya. And I remember I had gone to visit him. And G was playing in Macau. And in that pain which chikungunya gives, he was walking up and down, watching as passionately as I can see it on your face.
As ever.
Okay.
I did not sit. I'm telling you that those 18, the till that I was in commentary, I did not sit. I could not sit. I was so excited. And when he won, I just came and hugged my wife. I said, "Yaar, aaj kya din hai yaar." मैं तभी retire हुआ था. तभी मैंने फौज छोड़ी थी.
How wonderful.
And it was like, it is that day, I don't think anything can match that happiness.
Outstanding. That's a great memory right there.
Yeah.
There is a question from Sahila. She says, I'm 17 and will be turning 18 this December. But due to this corona epidemic, I couldn't compete in IGUs or any other under 18 tournaments. So how can I continue further? And which path will be right to compete in amateur tournaments or something like the proper ones after 18?
Yeah, he's a young boy. I don't know if I knew his name. Probably if I know him, I don't know. But if he's good enough to play, if he's good enough and he's a merited player, if he's
it's Sahila, it's a girl, I think.
Yeah. Sahil.
Yeah.
So probably I've not met him. Yeah. So Sahil, my answer to you is that you are 17, you're a young boy. So don't have any benchmark. And if you're playing main tour of IGU, you are good enough. And if you're good enough, as I said, have fire in the belly, do correct things. And if you watch YouTube, and I'm sure you must be watching, watch only golf videos. I repeat once again, watch only golf videos on YouTube. That's the only way out. And then this is the time, go and put in work. 17 son, you are just born. You have world in front of you. You can compete at any level. Always remember, go and compete one step high. If you are category A, go and play amateur. I will always tell everyone, always compete one step high. It'll keep the perspective in place. So go and play. Yes, Hanji.
Very nice answer. I'm always push yourself to the next level straight away.
Okay. Yes.
There's a question from Arjun Bhati, who is one of the top talents in the country right now.
I know Arjun. Yeah.
And his question is again about the coaches and parents combination for a child.
Yeah. So Arjun, first my blessings to you for whatever you have done for PM Care all this time,
That's lovely.
and you have been star. I really love you for that, and you are a good boy. And the quality of your tweets, even if someone is helping, still great quality of tweets in your thing. So my first and foremost advice to you is that social media is not something for you at this age. You have to be really away from this. This can be killer at your age. This is like an intoxication. You start counting likes and dislikes. You get involved in this. You get involved in answering. You get involved. So this is my advice to you. Social media, let anyone who's handling your dad or anyone, they're doing great job, let them handle it. You should not spend more than 15 minutes or 30 minutes on anything. You don't have to see comments. You don't have to see anything. You don't have to answer. Right now you have to just play golf. This is my personal advice to you, and I'm sure you will take it in right perspective. But whatever you have done till now, the way you're inspiring people, about the way your handle has been able to do, has been phenomenal. So my blessing for that. And second is question one. Now come to question once again. What was the question?
How important is a combination of a parent coach along with the player?
Yeah. So I think we touched upon on this in great
That's
length
right.
in the white. So Arjun, in your case, I think what I see you are also a traditional Hindu. I won't say again Hindu, a traditional Indian boy. So I want to be a traditional Indian values. You are traditionally Indian who respects elders, who respects the own culture, who respects own values. So your base is strong. Your base is strong. Your Indian values are strong. So that will see you through. So you are good with a base. Now you have to build up. And you've gone and won in US 2-3 times, and you've gone and competed, and you're a wonderful guy, and with all despite all this thing. And I really appreciate the work done behind your work. I'm sure your father is like a rock behind you. I want to meet him sometime and congratulate him for whatever he's doing. So in your case, as I see and as I get your picture from your profiles and all, I think your father is a very important part of your this trial. Let your father be the hinge as of now as you go further, and have trust in your coach when you're working. Let your father coordinate for you, and as far the game is concerned, have one-to-one linkage with the coach. So this three people are a very important part. This is this combination is really, to me, this is ideal combination. It's a very ideal combination as long as you can maintain it.
Wonderful, sir. I think that's great advice there. I can see Arjun, and we all wish him the very best. Go ahead and make India proud one day, and I'm sure you will. There's no two ways about it. Okay. Another very interesting question: did Shubhankar at any stage lose interest in golf, and then how did you recover it, if at all?
Huh, uh, if you ask me, theoretical question.
He didn't. So let's not
Yeah,
go into this question. Okay.
yeah. No. I'm just saying. So maybe well, I'll answer this question. So he had a blip, but not for reasons of golf. It was own personal reasons of life. He had a blip, but it was not the loss of love for the golf. It was not loss of golf. He got caught in situations which were like traveling and moving and exhaustion and tiredness and too much of tension and too much people coming into life and too much getting divided into many things, US and Europe and Asia and friends and admirers and a lot of people. So those 2-3 years, you can't call it losing interest, but it sort of exhausted him. It tired him. Especially last year was very tiring for him. He really got exhausted and tired. So that affected his game a bit. Slightly, he got, you get a point that jadedness comes in.
Yeah.
So, and he's on road for last 7 years, 7-8 years. So this 2-3 months has been God sent for him. He's sitting at home, rejuvenating, reanalyzing his life, re-understanding his life, and doing this thing. So, which is inevitable. But golf is his life. Golf is his love. He can live without anything, but not golf. Golf is something is amazing.
It's interesting how many of the top players I've spoken to and the coaches, and they've all said one of the key elements to somebody really making it big is to have love for the sport. And I think that is very, very clearly evident because since a child he's had it, and I think he
Yes,
just carries through all the good and the bad periods straight away.
absolutely.
Okay, there's a question from Dr. Shah, and he says that what was your and his experience when Phil Mickelson didn't recognize Shubhankar on the practice range during the World Championships? And I think Gurbaz was there as the caddy, if I'm not wrong.
I was right there. I was standing right there.
Okay.
So it just become Phil Mickelson is a character. He is Tiger is undisputed boss of US golf, and similarly, Phil is an undisputed character. He is the most loved golfer in US. It's amazing. He's very
Okay.
good man.
Okay.
उसको इतना उसका वो है उसको इतनी उसकी fan following और इतना प्यार मिलता है उसको, and he's such a easy going guy. And it is not that he did not know him. Probably he would know him. A lot of people say that it was his gamemanship and he wanted to tell the boy, and he did a gamemanship. Some people said, that's crap. That is not. I don't agree with that. Phil is a fantastic guy. So he was in his zone when they went. Both Indians and Indian there, and unlike ना गोरे हैं ना काले हैं ना कुछ है, बीच के लोग घूम रहे हैं, बीच में कौन है क्या है, तो मतलब ही उसका माइंड रजिस्टर ही नहीं किया उसने कि ये प्लेयर है. और शुभांकर वाज लाइक कोई बच्चा घूम रहा है या कोई प्रेस वाला घूम रहा है. So उसने कहा that was the last minute before I wanted to go to this, so he just said that. But I think he immediately realized it, and before they could go back to he walked out to Jesus, sorry, I didn't get to. And mind you, after that, Phil recognizes him from a mile. Wherever he sees him in the course, hi Shubhankar. Till date. Abhi Saudi Arabia में हम मिले. Before Corona.
Okay.
And we spent half an hour together. जैसे गेम खत्म हुआ, आधा घंटा हम बात करते रहे. Me, शुभांकर, फिल का कोच, उसका मैनेजर और एक अपना इंडियन जो यंगस्टर अच्छा खेल रहा है वहाँ पे. क्या नाम है उसका, यूएस में लड़का खेल रहा है कि नया बच्चा जो अपना खेल रहा है, 19 years old boy, turn pro.
Akshay Bhatia.
Akshay was there. So Akshay and हम 5-6 लोग बैठे रहे, and we kept talking half an hour. And he kept talking, and Phil has become a friend after that. So there's no hard feeling. Shubhankar was like, Shubhankar just laughed it out. And I also...
It's interesting where you took a name of Akshay Bhatia, that boy is also making a mark, an Indian kid in the US, the world #1 amateur junior.
Akshay is a good boy. I met him this time. We had a long chat. And he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Again, very... I think he's born in US only. But right. he has that Indian feeling and he has that Indian touch, and he's a good boy. He'll do well, hitting very long, lefty and very graceful ball. And they spent quite some time, Shubhankar and काफी बात करते रहे. मेरे साथ मिला, बात हुई. Very alone था. It is his manager and Phil's manager same. So basically, Phil's company has taken over him.
Okay.
So he's playing for Callaway. Very good boy. He's a very nice up. So Phil is a enigma actually. Phil is phenomenal. I also love it. Shubhankar को छोड़ दो, मेरे को पहचानता है वो. मेरे को दूर से बुलाएगा. Hi, Colonel. Oh, दूर से. Amazing. He's a great guy.
Oh, lovely. Okay, there's a question from a boy called Prabnur Singh from, he says, I'm a 15-year-old boy from Jammu and playing pretty good. So what should I do? Go for PGTI qualifying or amateur tournaments?
Prabjot is?
Prabnur Singh.
Prabnur, okay. I know this boy. He's from my area. So Prabnur, we can talk a lot on this, even privately also. So, but I think continue Prabnur, play some more. I think I've seen you playing. So I guess PGTI is slightly early for you. Just go on to win one odd event on IG circuit. It will give you confidence and it will get you.
Nice.
I think you spend at least 1 to 2 years on IG. Yes.
I'm so sorry, we couldn't hear the last bit. Could you just repeat that?
Yeah. So I said, just let him spend, Prabhu spend about a couple of years, I think 1 to 2 years on IGU. Just go out and win something on IGU once. Win once and then go on. So right now, don't be in a hurry. This 2 years, go play IGU, win. I want to see you winning at least 2 tournaments. Then call me, then I'll tell you. You are in any case, you know me well.
I think it's good advice, and I completely agree with you on that.
Yes.
Okay. There's a question from Bhavya Man. Sir, I'm 11 years old, turning 12. I want a tip on putting to improve my skills because my putting is very poor.
Bhavya, my handicap is 14 when I'm playing very good. And so I'm waiting. Putting, even Shubhankar keeps asking tips even today. So putting is better is like it's like आपने putting has to become something like आप आंखें बंद करके खाना खाते हो ना. आप जब as you pick up a morsel of food in your hand and put it in your mouth, just close your eye, it will never go out. You put and keep eating and put and keep eating. Putting has to become something like this. So more you do, better you are. More you do, better you are. अब खाना दिन में 3 बार खाते हो, आप 50 बार हाथ लेके जाते हो मुंह की तरफ. तो बस 50 बार अगर आप रोज के पट कर दोगे, twice a day, you will be very good putter. There are no formulas for that, only work. Work, get right technique going. Jassi is very good in putting. Just get in touch with Jassi. Jassi has some fantastic techniques he has developed, and he's teaching and he's constantly upgrading. So if you get a chance to come to Chandigarh, I would say that get a basic technique right, and after that is a matter of practice.
In fact, so if I may just add over here, Jesse's got a beautiful video online. He did a video with Indrajit Bhalotia. It's called CFL series. He's got a very nice putting session on, a session on putting. So my advice would be definitely watch it. It'll give you some great insights right there.
Yeah.
Okay. A question from Siddhant. How forceful did you have to be with Shubhankar sometimes to keep him away from distractions? And did you ever feel guilty about it?
How forceful I had to be away from?
How forceful did you have to be sometimes with Shubhankar to keep him away from distractions?
From
distractions.
Okay.
Okay.
Even today, I don't mind pulling ear even today. If I find something wrong, I'm his father. Whosoever is calling, what is his name?
Siddhant.
Siddhant, beta, I'm his father. I will stay his father till the time I'm alive. So that right, I'm not going to leave anytime. If he get distracted, and I feel that is a distraction, I'm going to pull his ear. So I have that right. I'm not going to lose at any point in time. So I've been quite forceful at times. I have no doubts on that.
I think that's a very important point, and I think so all the parents that at some point you have to be a parent. You don't have to be a friend all the time.
Absolutely, yeah? Absolutely. He can be anything tomorrow. It doesn't really matter. When Tiger got caught in all this nonsense, what he got caught, and his mother's statement came that she said, if he was in front of me, I will slap him. I feel like slapping him. Her mother said this statement. Well, I read myself. I feel like slapping him, and he was Tiger. So a parent will always retain that right, and he should. If he does not, then he's not worth it. There's no question. And but having said that, Shubhankar has been, as I said, he's a Destiny's child. He hears, he listens. Shubhankar को मुझे कोई चीज 2 बार बोलनी नहीं पड़ी आज तक. मैंने जो उसको बोल दिया उसने कर दिया. So this is one lesson all kids must take, as I told our parents. Shubhankar को मैंने जो बोला उसने कर दिया. आज तक ऐसा हुआ नहीं. It never happened that I told Shubhankar not to do something and he refused. So that is there.
Very nice. I think it's good advice here, both for kids and for everybody else. So,
yes.
Okay, it's a good question here. How to grow and learn as a player from a bad round of tournaments? And how did you support Shubhankar after bad rounds?
So, bad rounds are always discussed. Even today we discuss. Now we have bad rounds. And there was time I also learning. At times we discussed bad rounds in a bad way. In the beginning we were not really very great कि हमने बोला कि हो गया. हमने bad rounds को bad way किया, मतलब गुस्सा भी हुआ और ये भी हुआ और वो anguish भी दिखाया और ये भी. This is all part of human being. But at the end of it, he also knew and I also knew that this is all for good. We have not really gone, we not crossed the lines. We have done. Let's say if we repeated mistakes and we said, why have we done it? And if something is not really worked out, then we realize why it has not worked out. So it's just a part and parcel of game. It never reached to a point that our relation got strained or he got annoyed with me that why I said so. It never that happened. I've been forceful at many times. I say something wrong happening. I say, "Iske baare mein baat kiya, fir bhi ho gaya." But it always been understanding. We both have an understanding that thing has been analyzed in a good way. But of late, as it grows to more competitive golf, and we have stopped discussing. We are not discussing bad rounds at all now. After a certain time, we have stopped discussing because it is controversial.
Very nice. Okay, there's a request here. Hello, sir. I want to play with Shubhankar Bhaiya. Shakshit Purandare.
Where is he? Where does he live?
I have no idea.
Ask him where does he live. If he could tell you.
Okay, Shakshit, just put up where do you live, and we'll find a way of getting that
Yeah.
message across to
No, no.
Shubhankar.
If he lives in Chandigarh, he's most welcome. He should message you or message me. We'll arrange. No problem.
Yes, so please do that.
No
Please
problem.
message me or message Uncle, and if you're in Chandigarh or whenever you're in Chandigarh next and Shubhankar is around, he'll
No
arrange a
problem.
round for you. What a wonderful offer.
No
Thank you.
problem. No problem. Hani, hani.
There are a lot of questions. I'll just quickly ask one or two more.
Yes.
So, what
Please.
is the best cure for fear of losing or being underconfident during a tournament?
What is the
I'll just
worst
repeat the
fear of?
question. What's the best cure for fear of losing or being underconfident during a tournament?
No, name. Who's asking?
Sahila.
Okay. Saila, one thing. I must tell you that famous Michael Jordan was Tiger Woods of basketball, or even better. So he said that fear is just an illusion. He says fear is just an illusion. There is nothing known as fear. It is just an illusion of mind. You drive your mind into illusion, which you call fear. There is nothing known as fear. So when you go out to play, you're not going out to win or to lose. You're going out to play. Remember my words. If whenever you're going to play, you're going to play. You go and play. You will win or you will lose. It doesn't matter. This is just a result which has happened. But that illusion of fear, that I'm fearful that I can lose, that is an illusion. That is not a reality. That you have to remove. That fear, that illusion actually has to go away. When you step onto course, you tell yourself that I'm going to play golf and I'm going to play a good round. And at the end of it, whatever result comes is accepted. So you're not going to win or lose, you're going to play. That is a mindset. You have to replace the thought. You have to replace the thought. Tell yourself that I'm going to play a round, not win or lose. And I think you will get away.
That's wonderful advice, Ji. And I hope she gets the gist of this, because there's a wonderful gyan in that entire last sentence that you just shared with her. So thank you for saying that. I think we could just go on maybe, but I think we'll just cut it down to final two questions.
Fair
because they're all flowing in at the moment. This is a question more from golf in India kind of perspective, that golf is expanding in a big way in India, but it continues to remain a rich man's game. What measures need to be instituted to make it everyone's game and exploit the talent from semi-urban areas and villages?
Shashwat is asking this?
That's right.
Shashwat, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he sent me this question in the morning. So he's my boy. I must tell you a word about Shashwat. He himself was a great player. He was a great junior player. And right now, he's done his IT. He made a decision sometime. He's an engineer. He's working with Goldman Sachs. He's a very, very successful boy. He's very successful. Very, very good boy. And he's a great golfer he was. But then he left. He did IT and then he's in Goldman Sachs and working. So he's asking a bigger question. So Shashi, my point of saying is that this game in India actually is a misnomer. It's not a rich man's game. If you look at it, 80% of the people even today, or I would say 70% of the people today, are playing from an underprivileged section. In India, the 70% of the crowd is from underprivileged. Maybe 20 to 30% is Fauji's and 10% is around people. Even today, that is a general, I think, in the pro golf what is happening. Clubs are less. So excess of the clubs is a bit of issue, but again, that is also not a solution. Solution is that government has to see the importance of the game. We all. So I think it is going to happen. And one way I think I see it is happening is, let's say tomorrow Shubhankar going and winning a major, or one of his colleagues going and winning a major. So if the day first major comes into a country, this game is going to explode in a different way. And then all these big players in the nation who really help sport, or who really mean good of the sport, or who really care for the sport, then they have to come in a way and have these ranges made all over the places. so that access of the people can, first awareness and then access can increase. So this is the only way I see. So now that you are in a corporate, Shashi, this is the idea which with this money which comes up from big houses. And if this money in some way can be channelized into making small ranges, maybe 200 yard, 300 yard strips, they can create at places and, give facilities for people to hit. It's a great idea. And I think this will happen. This will happen. I think it's a matter of time. I'm very positive about that. As I told you, the day we get a major trophy in India, I think that will be the start point.
I think the fact that boys like Shubhankar, Anirban, Jeev have also put India on the world map, suddenly there's a lot more awareness, there's a lot more corporate interest. They're seeing the value in the sport, both as a sport and as a networking opportunity and business development opportunity. I think we're already seeing a change happening, but like you correctly said, we need more access to learn the game. And that's something which is a function of getting more ranges out there.
And today, sir, the people today who are now this group of golfers which we have today, Jeev is still leading the way, and Arjun from there. There's a core group of about 20 golfers today in India. There are at least 20 golfers in India who can go and win anywhere. I don't think this has ever happened in the history of Indian golf. You have been playing golf. I came late to golf, as I told you. But I don't think we ever had this rich a group of people who are capable of winning anywhere. This is my feeling. And this is a great change. And this has happened in front of my eyes. And give another 5 years maybe, as I said, let one of them get another big one for India, maybe a few more. And it is going to explode. It's going to change. I'm very certain.
So I think kids like Arjun Bhati and all who are listening now, I think they will take on the mantle and do something to make the country proud. Yeah,
they will. They are very, very good boys.
Okay, Colonel Sharma, we could continue, but I think we'll close the conversation now. We've taken a lot of your time, and I just want to thank you. You have answered all the questions. You've made it a point to answer them in a way that there is knowledge to be shared and understood both by parents and by juniors. I hope the juniors who have heard that part when we answered the question about, what is it that your advice to juniors should be, I hope they take it to heart, because there was absolute wealth of knowledge there. And I hope people will down the line look at this recording once again and, use it as guiding light for their kids when they're coming up. Your clarity on many occasions has come through, and I think it also reflects in the clarity that Shubhankar has when he's on the golf course. I don't know if I've shared this with you, but when I first saw you, I hadn't really met you. Shubhankar was playing the Indian Open and you were walking with him. And this was on the 16th hole of the Delhi Golf Club. And he hit his tee shot right into the jhadi in the right. And then he played a hook over the trees on the right to find the back of the green and made par from an impossible situation. And, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who you were. But I saw that and I said, boy, that's talent right there. And, he's gone ahead to make the country proud. So keep on doing what you're doing. And we hope that we'll have Olympic gold, we'll have major winners, and Shubhankar will be leading the mantle in the future. And, you'll be there standing beside him. So thank you very much.
God willing, I know all this will come true. And, but just one last one from my side. Thank you very much for inviting me and sharing your views.
And if we can just have Shubhankar in for a quick minute before
Shubhankar, just call Shubhankar. And I just call him LC. Just last word from me is that, all these boys and all these parents, I must tell you that I'm always available. Any help, any advice, anything. You want me to mentor your child, you want a help, you want advice. I'm always available at any point in time. Call me, ask me, do whatever. I'm there. I'm there for Indian golf. Golf has given me enough. They've given a lot of happiness to our family, and I want to give it back in whatever way I can. I don't have right now, to be honest, enough money, but one day it will be, and I won't mind even helping people if I can help. If I can part some money and get some people up, with good pleasure.
Oh, wonderful, sir. And, I mean, that is just a beautiful comment right there to close this. And
Shubhankar
thank you.
Is coming. Shubhankar is just coming a minute.
Yeah, we will wait for Shubhankar. Till then, maybe let's ask another question.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay, so let me just scroll up a little bit. And this is from Mehul Gulati. Sir, I am 16. I'm an amateur. Can you suggest and give me some advice? And about
Mehul,
changing a golf set as well. Sorry.
yeah. No, Mehul, he must be having a coach right now. I don't know really what level is he playing. And I think all this talk which I had, I think he can gather a lot of answers from there. But if he's playing at a good set, changing set is a fad. If you're sitting with this set correctly, if you're hitting it well, set changing is not a mandatory thing for golf. Set changing is just is just a marketing thing for the companies to sell set. But if you are hitting good balls with a set what you have today, I don't see any reason for you to change the set. But yes, if you have overgrown the set, or if you have become stronger, or if there's thing there, your coach is the best guy to tell you. As I said in the beginning, trust your coach. Trust your coach. Have your coach. Build a relationship. Trust your coach. He will tell you. So, if anything further or anything specific, I'm always there. So here is Shubhankar. Here is Shubhankar just now.
Hi, Digraj, how are you?
How are you, Shubhankar?
Very good. How are you doing?
Very well. And you got a lot of fans out there who are very keen to see you and just hear you say a few things.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm sure Dad, you enjoyed the session with Dad, and I'm sure a lot of good, positive talk was made, and a lot of new things came up. I'm sure they all loved it, and obviously Dad has always been there for me, and he's helped me to be where I am today. So I'm sure there are a lot of good things being discussed.
Shubhankar, I must tell you, after hearing Colonel Sharma and everybody who's heard, there's some beautiful comments coming up. One can see the beautiful grounding that you've received to become the player that you are. Maybe you want to say something to your dad here and for everybody else as well about listening to parents.
Yeah, I mean, just to become a golfer, I mean, I think any sportsman or any sportswoman out there, you really need a very strong backing from your parents to get to a certain level. And it takes a lot of support by them to actually get to the highest level in golf. So, Dad has always been there for me. My mom, my dad, it's just a fantastic team behind me that they have always been there. They have helped me. And supported every decision of mine. So I can't thank them enough for all that they've done, and they still continue to. And Dad still does most of my work. I just have to go out there and play golf. All the behind the scenes work is done by Dad. So he's still my number one guy, and he's still there for me every day.
Lovely. Shubhankar, let me just quickly read one or two messages. Hello, Shubhankar Bhaiya. That's from Arjun Bhati. Your inspiration for all of us and was keenly waiting for you to come. Love you, Bhaiya.
I know Arjun really well. He's a very good player himself.
So, yeah, he certainly is. And he's already making a mark on...
he is, absolutely. Yeah. Very good player. He's doing well.
There's another lovely message which I just want to read out for, we should know how much your dad's made a difference already. This is from Shruti Kapoor from Bombay. Thanks a million, Digraj sir. Amazing knowledge sharing by Colonel Sharma. We are privileged to be a part of this session.
Wonderful.
And I want to close this with Shubhankar, you giving some advice to the kids about what they need to do.
Digraj sir, I'll say the same thing that I said when we had our session a few weeks ago. Just keep the fire burning inside you. I mean, golf is a sport where you have to be self-motivated. You have to keep finding new things to keep yourself motivated. So just stay motivated, stay hungry to do well, and just keep the fire burning. And most of all, enjoy the sport. At the end of the day, it's a game. So remember that it's very important to enjoy the game. Go out there, have fun, and treat it as a game, and keep the fire burning, and sky's the limit.
Wonderful. Thank you. And as they say, keep the flag flying high. Best wishes to you. Let me just quickly say, say bye to Dad.
Thank you very much.
Once again, thank you very much. Really enjoyed that. There's a lot of value in what you've shared, and we really are grateful for that. Thank you.
You are a great host, and you asked really some very good questions. I'm sure people would have benefited. And as I said, I'm always there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, and best wishes to you and the entire family.
Thank you and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.